Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Teaching the Basics. My name is Utyo. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that whenever I post a new video, you get notified. So let's get started. Today we will discuss about primary keys, secondary keys, candidate keys, alternate keys and foreign keys. Let's start with what are DBMS keys. The first point is the keys are the most important concept there is in the RDBMS, that is a relational database management system. Now, why is it so? Because we all know that in a database management system, we store data in a very particular and in a very formal manner, so that in the time of need, we can retrieve the data from the database. And this retrieval of the data requires the help of keys, and they are used to fetch data uniquely from a database. Okay, and next comes these keys helps in establishing a relation between the tables. Okay, because in my future lecture I will be talking about joins and how two tables are joined to retrieve some data. So in those cases, this keys play a very vital role. In a database table, an unique attribute is considered as a key. Okay, and but in some cases, more than one attribute forms a key. Now let's talk about the types of database keys. That is, the first one is a super key, and then comes candidate key, then primary key, then composite key, and then alternate key, and the final one is the foreign key. So what is a super key? Let's elaborate. The first point is, it is a set of attributes in a table with the different values used to identify the tuples uniquely. Okay, so it is our main motto to identify any tuple or a row uniquely from a database table. Okay, and the next point is, no two distinct tuples have the exact same values in the attribute set. Okay, so let's elaborate these 2 points with the help of an example. Now this is let us suppose this one is an employee table, and this in this employee table there are 3 columns. One is employee ID, the second one is the name, and the third column is phone number. Now to identify any row or a tuple from this table, we can take help of this employee ID, either employee ID or the phone number, because both of them are the super key and they have the ability to identify each and every row of this particular table. Okay, now if you are asked now how can we say that this is true? Now if you are asked to identify the name of the person or employee ID of the person whose phone number is 99087, you can easily identify the name is Tom, and this employee ID is 3400. And in other way around, if you are asked, if you are said that please identify the name of the person whose and the phone number of that that employee whose employee ID is 2078, you can easily identify that the name of the employee is Sam, and his phone number is 76547. Now this is the for this elaborates the first point, but the second point is the no two distinct tuples have the exact same values in the attribute set. So in this attribute sets there are 3 attributes. You can easily see that that is employee ID, name, and phone number. But you can also see that no two row in this table is a duplicate one. Okay, or no row in this table have a duplicate value. Okay, have a value, but you can see that no two row is a duplicate one. Okay, so this is what I actually try to mean by the second point. And the next one is the candidate key. It is an attribute set that is used to identify a tuple uniquely in a table. It is always our intention to identify a tuple uniquely from a table. Okay, and it is a super key. It is a candidate key is also a super key with no repetition of attribute. So these are actually the features. Okay, and the third point is the primary key is selected from the set of candidate keys. Okay, and it is selected by a database administrator actually. So the next one is at least one candidate key should be present in a table. Yes, this one is a very important point, that at least in a table there should be one candidate key, because as I have discussed earlier, that without a key you cannot identify or fetch a data, okay, from or a record from a table. Okay, so this one is an example of a candidate key, and let's elaborate with this employee table. And so you can see that in this table, these three columns, that is employee ID, employee email ID, and phone number of those employees, have the ability to identify all the tuples uniquely. Okay, because we all know that an employee ID, it cannot one employee ID cannot be shared with any other employees. Okay, every individual employee is provided with a employee ID, and we all know that we all have a unique email ID. If someone tries to contact us and they if we provide a mail ID, and if they type that mail ID while sending a mail, it is not going to get diverted to someone else, but going to come to the person whose email ID is provided. So we know that email ID and phone numbers, both of them are unique in nature, or can identify tuple uniquely. Now, so these three columns can be considered as a candidate key. Okay, and have the ability to become a primary key. And you can see this one also, that's for first name and last name. If we combine these two attributes or two keys, we can form a candidate key also. Okay, so let's move on with the next slide. That is a primary key. Yes, so this is the main thing, and it is a key formed by a single attribute or a group of attributes used to identify a tuple uniquely. So this is the main definition of a primary key, and this is the main property actually of a primary key. And if you want to define a primary key, you need to have this criteria. And there is only one primary key in a table. This one is also one of the properties of a primary key. And yes, a primary key is chosen by DBA, that is a database administrator. And the most important point is that the values of a primary key can never be null, or you should have to provide a value for a primary key, and that should be a unique value in nature. So in this example, you can see this is a student table, and there are these four attributes, that is a student ID, a name, a class, and roll number. All of them have something repeated in nature, except the name and the student ID. But we know that if you are talking about a school, you can have repeated names, but you cannot have a repeated student ID. You can see that the roll numbers or classes are also repeated or repeated in nature, but a student ID is not cannot be repeated. So we can consider for this table, or this yes, for this table we can consider this student ID as a primary key. Now comes the composite key. What is a composite key? It is formed using more than one attributes in a table. And the next point is the composite key can uniquely identify a tuple in the table. Combination of attributes assures the uniqueness property. Okay, so if we elaborate with this example, this is again a student table, and yes, you can see that no single column can uh, uniquely identify a tuple. Okay, so you can see there are two Johns. You can see this class is also repeated and phone number is also repeated. And so we take the help of these two attributes. One is class and the other one is roll number, and we form a composite key to uniquely identify uh, this this uniquely identify the tuples of this table. As you can see in the earlier example, I have said that the phone number is unique in nature. But let us consider in this case that Donna and Tom both are brothers and sisters, and they have a unique phone number, or a guardian's phone number, that is a 90786. So in this particular scenario, we cannot consider this phone number as a primary key. So the next one is a alternate key, and the properties are they are the keys that have the ability to become a primary key, and they are also sometimes known as the secondary key. And the second point is they are formed using one or more than one attributes. Yes, so in this example or of the employee table, you can see that this employee ID, email ID, or phone number, all of them can be considered as this alternate keys. But the database administrator from these properties choose one primary key. It is up to the database administrator who actually designs the database. It's up to him, completely up to him to decide or to make a choice of a primary key from all the sets of these alternate keys. And the final one is the foreign key. So let's see the properties. That the first one is it is a key that is a primary key of another table. Okay, we will elaborate this with the help of an example. The next point is it is used to join two tables. Okay, with the help of a foreign key, we can find the relationship between the two tables. This also, and this join operation is performed only if between two tables, only if there is a foreign key present in in those two tables. Okay. And yes, a foreign key can accept null value, whereas a primary key cannot accept a null value. Let's elaborate them. So you can see that there are two tables. One is the employee table and the other one is a department table. And in this employee table, you have employee ID, this name, and a department ID. And in department table, you have a department ID and a department name. For the first one, that is the employee table, this employee ID is considered as a primary key of this employee table. And in the department table, department ID is considered as a primary key of the department table. Now you see that this department ID is also present in this employee table. Okay. Now this is what we call a foreign key. Now this department ID in employee table is the foreign key present in this employee table. Okay, and it can accept a null value, because let us suppose that this employee named Bob is a trainee, and he or she he doesn't he is yet to be allocated to some department and provided with a department ID. And with the help of this foreign key, we can join two tables. We can find a relationship between the two tables. We can now let's say that if we want to know this employee ID 10987 John, and in this from these two tables, if we want to know that in which department this John belongs to, then we can easily say that this John belongs to the sales department. Or if I want to know in which department this Tom belongs to, then we can say from this two table that Tom belongs to the marketing department. Okay. So this is for that. This is the end of this video. Please like my videos and share among your friends so that they can benefit from it too. I will be posting my next video very soon. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you.